So, what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong. It's NWA Day.
They want NWA? Let's give them in.
I'm building an alliance.
Will you join us?
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J Cal. The gentleman to my left is none other than DKM, the one and only. DK, how are you, man? You're muted, I think. You're still muted. Well, while DK figures out how to unmute himself, my name is J Cal, and each and every Thursday night, we talk about the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, this night is a little bit different because history could be made this weekend at the Royal Rumble. Now, we don't normally cover the World Wrestling Entertainment on this live stream, but sometimes news transcends pro wrestling in one organization, one group. And obviously, when it comes to somebody like AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, whose career transcended just the WWE. He was a part of the NWA. He was part of WCW, of course, towards the end of it. He was a part of TNA wrestling, a big part of TNA to be, in fact. He was a member of the Bullet Club. He was a member of New Japan Pro Wrestling, all of this before making his debut with the WWE some 10 years ago. DK, have you figured out why you're still muted? No, you have not.
Okay.
You just didn't want to talk, did you?
No, actually something had gone on and I had turned down the volume on the computer and I forgot to turn it back up.
Oh! You just didn't like the music that we were playing beforehand.
Basically, yes.
That's fair. That's fair. I can live with that.
Honestly, I was trying to listen to something else, and then so I turned this down so I could listen to the other thing.
And then you forgot what time it was, and then you didn't.
Well, then I just forgot to turn it
up. I guess you're not unlike a lot of our audience members. Thank you for everyone who's given us the hearts and the on TikTok. We are live on TikTok, YouTube, and on Twitch. We have a couple people in the chat here on YouTube. Want to shout out our good friend Noob, who always wonders, how are we doing? And Noob, I'm doing pretty good. DK, how are you doing?
Boy, I'm glad it's Thursday.
You want to hear something crazy?
But my life is crazy, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, this almost never happens because I have a pretty much set schedule. I know basically where I'm supposed to be every day. And when I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was like, that's weird. My alarm did not go off. Oh, well. And I jump in the shower to get ready to go to work and realized it's Thursday. Thursday, I don't go into the yard. I stay at home working from home on Thursdays. So I was taking a shower at 5:30 in the morning and realizing it while in the shower. And then what do? You get out and just go back to bed, or you just go about your day?
I go back to bed. It's interesting you bring up 5:30. A little TMI here, but I've taken my son to work on certain days, and on certain days he goes to work at 5 in the morning. So I set my alarm for like 4:40, and that gives me 10 minutes to fall out of bed, find my keys and wallet, and recently put on a jacket and everything, take him to work, and then I take him to work and I come back, and 9 times out of 10 I fall asleep pretty quick. Sometimes the dogs decide they want out, and of course they never want out at the same time. And so it might be 5:30 by the time I'm done with everything and whatever, and I can fall back asleep.
Sure.
And so one time when this happened, I got up, took him to work, came back, crawled back in bed, fell asleep, woke up, kind of like you were saying, got up, started brushing my teeth and getting ready for the day and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I look at my clock, and it is 5:45.
So you had just literally
slept about 30 minutes, and I thought that it was the beginning of the day. And so it was just like, so after I finish, brushing my teeth and washing my face and doing whatever, I went, made me a hot chocolate, had a drink, drank that, came back, got back in bed and slept for like 2 hours, which is weird because I don't normally do that.
I don't. So I'm a creature of habit, right? I think you know that about me by now. And if you don't, here's a news flash. So because I get up at 5 a.m. on the days that I go into the office, I wake up at 5 a.m. pretty much every day. Some days I can roll back over and go to sleep, but most days not so much. And today was one of them. Visago, no, I'm not going to the Royal Rumble. I'm not Kevin Owens. My name is Jay Cal. This is the Alliance blog. You're getting false information. Don't believe the internet rumors. I am not Kevin Owens.
We have noticed the haircut, just saying.
Honestly, I thought going shorter would make it less like Kevin Owens. And apparently no.
Because you were smoking weed at the time? What?
What do you mean smoking weed? Hold on. Wait a minute. First of all, I don't smoke anything. Second of all, what this is shorter than what Kevin Owens has.
Not always.
Well,
Sometimes you get that's exactly how he does his hair.
Well,
I'll be honest. For a guy that claims he's not Kevin Owens, your beard always matches Kevin Owens. Your hair tends to match Kevin Owens. When his is longer, yours is longer. When his is shorter, yours is shorter. It's just.
When was the last time you saw Kevin Owens?
What was it? John Cena's retirement.
Okay, well that was over a month ago.
So I'm just pointing out that if he shows up at the Royal Rumble tomorrow with short hair, just saying.
I'm skinnier than Kevin Owens. I'm shorter than Kevin Owens. My wife thinks I'm better looking than Kevin Owens.
Oh, she don't count. Married people just say things.
Hey, now, watch your mouth.
Oh, you know it's true.
That is not true. I reject this statement totally.
She just wants to jump you.
Well, yeah, you're probably right about that one.
So I'm just saying. But anyway. So other than the fact that you're denying being Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I am denying being Kevin Owens. I'm doing pretty good, and I hope I'm saying it right. Visago said, "I'm just messing with you, Jay Cal. How are you doing, Jay?" Jay's doing okay. Jay, why am I talking in third person all of a sudden? I think I'm The Rock now. Hey, I'm doing great. I got to go to the gym today. Today was leg day. I was I pushed my luck on the leg press, and I went. I'm now doing like 270 on the leg press, and I was quite happy with that. And then on
270,
huh?
You're doing 270?
Yeah, on the leg press, the angle.
Okay, I won't tell you what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
I said I wasn't going to tell you.
Is it more than 270?
A little.
All right. Well, hey, good for you, man. That's really cool. And I don't mean that sarcastically. Like, that's awesome. For me, my legs aren't the problem. I've got tree trunk legs, but what can be the problem for me is I have a bad back. So when I load up the weights for the squat rack or anything like that, I'm always very I use trepidation when I do heavy lifting when it involves my back. And so the squat, the hack squats, I did those today, and I just got to 200 on the hack squat. I'm like, all right, that's good. But in the circuit, it's your hip abductors, then the leg press, then the Romanian deadlifts, and then the leg curls, and then the hack squats. And by the end of it, you're like, what am I doing to myself? And so
we do ask that question a lot.
Well, you know what though, I'm feeling good though. I've not that this is the Jason profile show, but use a sled to work out your back and legs, no weight on your body. Yeah, I'm getting there, Matt. Like, I'm getting to a point where my back is hurting less, and like I was telling DK and Jaden a few weeks ago. I had a really bad shoulder injury from high school. And like when I say really bad, I mean, like, not that it affected my day to day, but I couldn't lift my arm up more than this. I almost did a wrong kind of salute there that would have for sure got me canceled. I couldn't lift my arm up in a certain direction, and that affected me where I couldn't even do push-ups, right? I couldn't even do push-ups. And last week, as part of my chest workout, push-ups are on the end of it, and I knocked out 15, And a year ago I could do like maybe 5, and 2 years ago I couldn't do any. So the fact that I'm where I'm at now, I'm pretty excited about that.
More than I can do.
And our good pal Jaden just jumped on too.
Never heard of him.
Jaden, what do you do on the leg press? How much weight are you throwing up?
Before knee surgery, I legitimately had about 800 pounds.
Damn.
After knee surgery, was probably significantly less. Last time I did it, it was about 280, and I didn't struggle, but I know if I would have did more, my knee would have said no.
I was telling DK before you jumped on, and I was pretty happy with myself. I'm up to 270 now on the leg press, and I was like, all right, that's 345 plates. I'm good. I didn't mention that the guy who was on the machine after me had like 7 plates on each side, which I was like, did the math. It's like 680 pounds. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Before my knees were bad, I used to squat the heavyweight he'd come into wrestling practice after football season around 3 something.
Shit.
And I was 112 to 19 pounds, somewhere in that range. But I always had really big, strong legs. I used to walk everywhere. I used to ride my bike everywhere. My legs were big. I used to have big legs and big ass, and then the rest of me was skinny as hell.
And now you're just a big ass.
Yes, it's true.
Well, we are going to be talking about AJ Styles momentarily. We're just catching up. We see each other once a week right here when we do the Alliance Guys podcast. So we're just catching up. When I was in high school in football, I did football and wrestling, but I was like the smallest guy. I was the Rudy of my high school, which is kind of pathetic. But
Rudy.
On the bench press, I couldn't do anything. But squats, I kept up with the biggest guys on our team. So they were doing 400 on squats. I did 400 on squats. And mind you, I didn't do it pretty, but I got, I was able to max out the same weights they were maxing out. I felt pretty proud of that.
Man, I haven't done squats in ages.
You haven't done squat in ages.
That too.
I used to love squat because I had really powerful legs.
Yeah.
I had trouble holding the weight sometimes on my shoulders because I barely had any shoulders at the time. But
I was closer to Jaden. The strongest part of me has always been my legs. And so I used, like Jaden was talking about, I used to weigh like 120 pounds, but I was squatting. I was working out on squat at 350.
Wow.
And the weird thing is, like some people, their workout and their maximum, there's a big difference between.
Yeah, very big difference.
They'll work out at 350, but their max might be, like Jaden was talking about, 600-700 pounds or whatever. I have never been that way. My workout has always been within about 10% of my max. So if I'm working out at 350, that means I'm maxing probably about 400.
Damn.
And stuff like that. But my knees have gotten so bad.
Testify.
That it's hard for me to get down to do the squat.
And that's part of the reason why my knees are so bad, by the way.
Yeah. And so I don't know why on the leg press, bringing them down with the weight, maybe it's the weight pushing them down, I don't know. It's not that I don't feel it, but it doesn't give me the same trouble. It's harder for me to keep my balance on a squat, even using a machine. It's just hard. It's just hard for me to keep my balance and everything. So I got a dog staring at me. I don't know what.
My leg press was definitely better than my squat, but again, it was mostly because of just my physical limitation of just how tiny I was. But to show you how different everything in the world was, I used to ride my bike to the Deptford Mall. It takes about 20 minutes to drive there on a highway. So you can imagine how long it takes your bike to go there. And we used to go there like a couple times a week back and forth and walk the mall while we were at it and do anything else and act like idiots. And nowadays, parents get mad. The kids go down the street and they're gone for a while. And like, where's my kid? He's in the next town. We were 1, 2, 3, 4 towns over from where I live. And we would do that, like I said, multiple times a week. While and we were riding fast too. We weren't like just scooting up, and it felt like it was always easier coming home because Deptford's feel like all uphill. So, but yeah, it was a long ride. It was, and we were riding fast just because we were always trying to see how quickly we can get there, and we were trying to be faster than everybody else. I miss bike riding.
I similarly, you know, I have 2 kids. I have 3 kids, but only 2 of them live with me now. The oldest one's all grown up, but the other 2, like when I was a kid, when the street lights came on is when we came home. My kids hardly ever leave the house. What's that?
I barely even did that. I was still out. I was out. I won't say, even though the statute of limitations is probably out, but I was definitely doing things I wasn't supposed to at all night. And I was constantly having a lot of fun. We were building things constantly. And don't ask me how we got the building materials. But we had some nice... We had some nice, basically we had almost our own city built in the woods of makeshift houses that weren't up to code, but they were definitely attached to all the trees. And we had some cool little thing going on that, again, I don't want to talk more about it because the statute of limitations up. I still don't want anybody coming back for me like, you confiscated some property of ours. But yeah, we were just always doing something. It was so much fun. And it was funny too, because there was about 18 of us, 16, 18 of us usually hanging around. Yeah. But we were always smaller groups, so groups would mix whatever. But you could always tell where we were because those were our bikes. Like, where are we meeting? Oh, the bike's at Jimmy's house. All right, we're all...
So we didn't, like, I guess when I was a kid, it was, we're about the same age, but also different coasts and everything. Like, we never went into the woods. We didn't have woods to go into. We would just hang out in the neighborhood. We would just, one kid had a basketball court in his driveway, so we'd play basketball. Or one kid, one of my neighbors had a trampoline, like not just a small one, but one of those big ones. And we would jump on those things and launch each other and practically break our necks doing it, but had a lot of fun. I'd come home crying and limping and, what's wrong? I fell off the trampoline. But
only time I ever cried on a trampoline is when I straddled the springs.
Oh.
Yeah, I cried then. I know you definitely didn't understand. You didn't have woods where you are, because I remember when you came to visit me, you were so amazed by the amount of trees, and we thought. I kept saying, like, this is just the trees in between trees. This isn't even the trees.
Well, and especially where you live, I'm like, how many people were dragged into those woods and not ever to be seen again?
Only the Pine Barrens, but and it's usually by some monsters. But no, the kids, all of us were there. We were all playing in those woods. Those woods were everything. Tag. I remember my favorite thing was a rope swing. At the part where you got on the rope swing, you were about 3 or 4 inches off the ground. At the absolute maximum swing of the pendulum, you're about 10 to 15 feet above the ground, above jagged rocks, straight down, and sticks that are pointing up. You fell off of it, you probably would die.
Don't do that.
But that's what made it fun.
So shout out real quick to the chat. We got Mia Wrestling. We got Ryan McLean. And if you're also in the TikTok chat, say what's up. And then we have, of course, over on YouTube, we can go through those chat messages. We'll pull them up right now. We got Noobs in the chat. Matthew Underwood is here, if it shows. Willie Bowen's in the chat.
We finally figured it out. Matthew Underwood is really PN News.
PN News?
Yo, yo, yo.
Oh, shit.
Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo.
And they're calling me old on TikTok, and you just referenced PN News? Tyrus joke of the day. Tyrus can do 270 push with a knife and a fork at dinner time. And,
that's because the reason we still talk about PN News is because Tyrus ate him.
Oh my God. Tyrus squats a lot. Tyrus walking is a squat for everybody else. Eating that much does result in a lot of squatting. Oh my God. Jeez.
Yeah.
Willie said he was a streetlight kid too. Everyone in the chat, did you come home when the streetlights came on, or did you have a set time when you were supposed to be home? Let me know. Curious. And we are going to talk about AJ Styles. Of course, does that work? Can you guys still hear me? AJ Styles, there's a lot of speculation that this is going to be his final appearance for the World Wrestling Entertainment, at least in the wrestling capacity. The rumor is that this will be his last match within the WWE. Now, we aren't a WWE podcast. We don't typically go deep dives in the WWE, and apologies, Willie Bone, but we are going to talk a little bit about AJ Styles' career in the World Wrestling Entertainment. It was 10 years ago at the Rumble that he made his debut for the WWE, and since then, he went on to win multiple championship titles with the World Wrestling Entertainment, including but not limited to the WWE Championship, where he held that title, I believe, 2 times, the U.S. Championship that he held 3 times, the Intercontinental Championship that he held 1 time, and then both the Raw Tag Team Champion and the World Tag Team Champion, same thing, one with Omos and the other with Dragon Lee. So he did, in his short time with the WWE in 10 years, he did achieve that triple, what's it called?
They call it the Triple Crown.
Triple Crown? Is it the Triple Crown or is it the Grand Slam champion? No, Triple Crown.
Grand Slam's 4.
That's right. Well, he did technically hold 4. He held the US and IC title.
I guess that's a triple.
Yeah, he won the IC title. If I go back in time here and look, he won the IC title from he won the title on a SmackDown. It was a vacant title, and he defeated Daniel Bryan in that match, and it was during COVID. That was right in the heart of COVID, and it was at the Performance Center in Orlando.
You know why he was WWE champion and never the World Heavyweight Champion?
Why?
Because they don't have a Flat Earth Championship.
Are we burying AJ? Is that what we're doing tonight?
I will make fun of that for as long as I can and as much as I can. I like AJ Styles. He's amazing in the ring, but I will 1,000% make fun of anybody who thinks the earth is flat.
I will say this in his defense.
Oh, no.
Because he's said it before.
Okay.
He's never said he believes the earth is flat. He's merely noted that he can understand why some people that they make intriguing arguments. But he's never come out and said he believes it's flat.
Yeah, there's intriguing arguments why there's lizard people in the middle of the earth too, but
well, Billy Corgan will tell you about that. Nothing.
Yes.
Crickets. Anyways, so AJ, did have a very accomplished career with the WWE, and of course, holding that World Heavyweight Championship, I do think there is a little bit more prestige when it comes to those 2 titles. The title that is currently held by Drew Galloway, I always felt like that was the more prestigious of the 2 titles, but nevertheless, him holding that World Heavyweight Championship did help cement his legacy with the World Wrestling Entertainment. At this point, when you think about pro wrestling in the United States, it's kind of hard not to think about the WWE and the Hall of Fame that they have. I'm certain that AJ Styles will be a first ballot, nomination, probably as soon as the next WrestleMania that he'll be in the Hall of Fame. What did you think about AJ Styles' career in the WWE, DK? Tell me a little bit about your opinion of AJ in the WWE.
Well, here's an interesting story that a lot of people don't remember. Is that WWE was actually interested in AJ Styles a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually offered a chance to go. And he turned him down because it was just kind of their early, they were probably still farming out their
developmental.
And the pay was quite low. And he felt like he could make more money by going to that new promotion. that was getting starting up.
WWA.
What?
That's funny because it's true. World Wrestling All-Stars, that's true.
No, he ended up going to TNA or being part of their starting thing because, but yeah, he was offered the chance to go to WWE at the time. And he kind of was Cody before Cody. You know, he went somewhere else to build his value.
Lots of somewhere else's.
Yeah, lots of them. And so, of course, when he finally did make it to TNA, some people were surprised. I mean, when he finally did make it to WWE, some people were surprised that he immediately went to the main roster. They were expecting him to have to do a stop in NXT like so many other people were having to do. So I think that says something about him just in general.
Yeah, for sure.
That WWE brought him in at Royal Rumble 10 years ago. And he stayed on the main roster. Had a lot of success early on. One of his United States title wins wasn't supposed to be a United States title win, but hey, they kept it. And
explain that. Explain that.
He won one at a house show, and the rumor was he wasn't supposed to win the title.
Oh.
That something happened, and the ref had to count 3, and they decided just to, apparently he was going to win the title. It just wasn't supposed to be at the house show. And so they decided to just leave it on him since that was already the plan. It may not be true. That may just be a story, but it is a story that's told. And one of the interesting things was not only did he hold the WWE title, but he was like the first person since John Cena to hold it like over a year or something. And then Brock Lesnar had held the Universal title for over a year. But this was like the first time the WWE title had been held. And in modern times for over a year. So it was he had good runs. I think one time he was a heel, one time he was a baby face. He flowed between the two of them well. He was good at both levels. And I think he basically accomplished, for somebody who wasn't going to be a megastar, I think he accomplished everything that he needed to or wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on his career within the WWE, Jaden?
He had some amazing matches against some of the best talent in the world at the time, especially. He elevated TNA without people realizing it and the NWA without realizing it, because as a WWE champion that had good success and had good long reigns and had felt important when he held it, not like an afterthought, it solidified his reigns, I think, both in Ring of Honor, which he was the pure champion, and TNA and NWA and all the other accomplishments that he's done, New Japan Pro Wrestling. It really put a emphasis on that. People don't realize, they'll lambast the WWE, they'll lambast, whatever. But when you have a big accomplishment like that, it elevates everything you've done before it too. Because now you could say, hey, my champion's now a WWE champion. Hey, my champion held the Grand Slam of the WWE, and that's something it's something you can hang your hat on, because it shows you have a good acceptance and a good ability to scout talent and put talent in meaningful positions, just like they're now doing so. And you're putting them in meaningful positions might be the reason now they're in the meaningful position. So that's something people really need to focus on. Having your big star go to the WWE, if correct, done well, can make your company bigger.
Chris Henry points out that AJ was only the third person to hold both the NWA and WWE titles.
That's true.
That's a very short list, like Cody Rhodes,
Ric Flair, Buddy Rogers.
Yes.
Well, it was Buddy Rogers. It was Buddy Rogers and Ric Flair for the longest time. They were the only two. And so then, yeah, when AJ did it, he became the third.
And then Cody was the last one to do it, right?
Right. So there's only been 4, I guess.
That's, when you think about it, that's pretty wild. That's because, a lot of WCW world champions, I mean, let's not get the waters muddied. Obviously, on this channel and most self-respecting wrestling fans understand that there's a difference between the WCW World Heavyweight Championship and the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And we're talking about the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And Chris Shoemaker, what we were just trying to figure out was how many guys had held the WWE World Championship and the NWA World Championship. And we've come up with 4. If you can come up with another one, I'd like to hear it. And thanks for the love, guys. I appreciate that. And then Chris Henry said, not counting Jazz and Moolah. No, we're just talking about the men's side of it, the men's world title. Not tag team titles, not the women's titles, but just the world title. I don't know that.
Well, Lonnie Kai would have been the first, wouldn't she?
Well,
actually, Moolah technically, but
because Moolah literally took the NWA title to the WWF, where they recognized her as the WWF Women's Champion.
Yeah. Lonnie Kai would have been the first one to have won the 2 titles separately. I mean, you can make the argument for Moolah, who lost the WWE one or WWF one and then regained it later. But when she came in WWF, she was champion. She was the NWA champion.
I'm trying to think if anybody else was. Also, I'm now going through my brain on that one. I don't think there's been any other NWA Women's Champion other than Jazz, Moolah, and Lonnie, right?
Willie asked about Gene Kaninsky. Did he ever win the WWE World Title, the WWF World Title? I don't remember.
He was AWA and NWA, but I don't think he was WWF.
No, okay. He was actually considered for the run that Stasiak. He was considered for that, but they ended up going with Stasiak instead. Oddly, Kaninsky, his NWA title run was better than his AWA one, which was just a short hot shot.
I'd like to think of myself as a bit of a hot shot.
Which one are you, Chase Stevens or Cassidy Riley?
I would have to be Chase Stevens. Just because Cassidy Riley, he always looked... Cassidy Riley looked like he was always blown up to me.
Like out of shape? Like
yes,
heavy shape. Or like...
Like he would make his entrance to the ring and then look out of it, like look like he struggled to catch his wind. All right, let's get back to AJ Styles, if you will.
Okay.
So,
if you will.
Now, DK brought up the fact that the WWE was interested in AJ Styles before he embarked on his journey with TNA Wrestling. But it should be noted that AJ Styles made his national debut in pro wrestling with WCW, and he's one of the few variants of wrestlers who could say that they competed in WCW, WWE, and New Japan and TNA. Now, obviously, there was nothing really to write home about when he was working with WCW. Him and Air Paris were a makeshift cruiserweight tag team that was always in the hunt for those cruiserweight tag team titles, but nothing really ever came of that. I'm curious as to, Jaden, when did you discover AJ Styles? Because I know a lot of the people in the chat will say, "Oh, well, I saw him in TNA wrestling," but when did you see AJ? First? Yeah, on the East Coast.
I didn't in person. It was a while, but on TV we got NWA Wildside. I think it wasn't even Wildside at the time. It was called NCW originally.
Yeah.
And that's where I first saw him. And then he showed up as some of the wrestlers. They had like a Tennessee, Georgia slate, where there's promotions, NWA promotions, their talent show up on WCW television, especially as security or enhancement talent or something.
Right.
And I saw him there in person. I think the first time I saw him in person was at the Super 8.
In New Jersey.
We competed in that. And with the original ECWA, and when the Super 8 still meant something. In fact, if it wasn't for the Super 8, there wouldn't have been a Ring of Honor. Just heads up on that one too. And I'm also going to credit Jersey All Pro, and the Super 8 with ECWA were definitely the precursors and what brought Ring of Honor to happen. The reason Ring of Honor even happened is because those two companies did so well in the tape trader market that Ring of Honor wanted its own tape trading market. And that's where that one started, with a guy who is not going to remain nameless unless you're under 18.
Yeah, I'll pretend you said 18. Oh my God.
Yeah, I would set you up for that one too. It's sad that I set you up for that one, and you took the swing.
You know what? I took the bait is what it was, just like you did on that one Catch the Predator show.
Yeah, allegedly. Allegedly with pure video. Evidence, but we'll ignore that. Anyway, and plus he also owes me lots and lots of videotapes, and then he was claiming that they were his when we had the originals. So if you get them from somewhere else, you have a copy.
By the way, here's what AJ Styles looked like when he was in Nitro, I guess. But,
AJ Styles was a talent. He rarely was. I knew he was a talent in the WWA. I saw that was a great thing about that. When TNA said they signed him, it was great. I mean, I still hate the Flying Elvises and all the other stupid stuff they did initially in those early TNA pay-per-views. But Jerry Lynn and AJ Styles and America's Most Wanted and stuff really became big things because of that. And they stood out, and they were great. A bunch of greatness floating in a sea full of crap.
When DK, when was the first time you saw AJ Styles? Where did you first get introduced to him?
NWA Wildside. We had it syndicated out here, and so
thank you, Bill Behrens.
Thanks, Bill.
So that's where I first saw him. I remember him feuding with a character named Lazarus, who was kind of a cross between the exotic Adrian Street and a goth.
All right.
But yeah, I actually a couple years back saw a video of their match on YouTube, or one of their matches, I should say, on YouTube, and it's just like, man, talk about two different fortunes.
Yeah.
One became a star, and I don't know what happened to the other one.
There was a lot of good Wildside matches. I mean, him and Davey Young was great. Who else did I really like him against? The altar boy Luke, who became Luke Hawks. The guy, his name, I can't remember what his wrestling name was, but he ended up becoming Abyss.
Prince Justice.
Yeah, Prince Justice. That mask did Abyss justice, by the way, if anyone wants to talk about justice. That mask, he was a guy who definitely needed a mask.
Yeah, he did.
But there was a lot of good matches. Ruckus. Stone Mountain, yeah.
It wasn't the best in the ring, but he, being a big, strong guy, he played that role well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, there was just that whole NWA Wildside roster was kind of the who's who of the early tape trader market in that area. A lot of those guys ended up being in places like Ring of Honor and TNA and stuff, making a name for themselves.
The Briscoe brothers wrestled there.
Yeah. There was once a working agreement between an unofficial working agreement between Wildside and CZW.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those wrestlers did go back and forth between them. And like I said, Ruckus was a prime example. He was a heavyweight black guy. Everybody would have considered him out of shape, but he moved better than just about every other cruiserweight at the time. So with the fact that he was large and the way he could fly and move made him stand out a lot. And Ruckus was a super talent always. And now he's in shape and he still wrestles. He's wrestling, I think, longer than AJ has. And he's still out there doing it.
As I'm going through the chat here, Luthez says, I also first saw AJ on Wildside. I had forgotten until very recently, having seen him defend the NWA title in person against Julio De Niro. And then Matthew Underwood mentioned Air Raid for the win. A year or two earlier, he might have saved WCW. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of us did get to see him pre-TNA. I remember him in WCW with Air Raid, and it was funny because him and Paris were actually feuding in Wildside, but they put them together as a tag team for WCW in that cruiserweight division. I didn't get to see a lot of his Wildside matches during the time because Wildside wasn't syndicated out here in California, and to watch it.
Baron.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. And to watch it, you had to go on the American One channel, which this predates YouTube, and you had to watch through their feed, which, even with high-speed internet at the time would just get you a lot of pixelated images. So watching Wildside was much of a chore, and then later Anarchy was much a chore before YouTube existed. So I didn't get to see any of that stuff. But I started watching AJ Styles when a lot of us did, when he showed up in TNA Wrestling. And, he's part of that faction. Was it SCX was the faction, I think? That was Vince Russo's group. And
SCX, yeah. Sports Entertainment Extreme.
And which I always thought was dumb, but I always thought, man, this kid is so good. This guy is so good. This wrestler is phenomenal. And watching him wrestle, I've said it before on this podcast, and I'll say it on every podcast. I do enjoy the high-flying, death-defying style of wrestling, the high-risk wrestling, if you will. And AJ kind of personified that in his TNA run. He was willing to take all kinds of risks in the ring, inside and out. I think it was on TikTok, Chris Shoemaker said that he put the whole X division on the map. The Ultimate X matchup for TNA, which they still use to this day, was, had it not been for AJ, that might not have even existed. But even more than that, one of the things that I really appreciated about AJ is even when he was the NWA World Champion in TNA Wrestling, he was still taking that belt on the road with him. So, we mentioned CZW and its relationship with Wildside, but AJ Styles defended the NWA World Championship in CZW long before Tim Storm and Nick Aldis did it. He defended against Jimmy Jacobs many, many, many moons ago. He also had taken the title to Ring of Honor. I know it wasn't – I don't think he actually defended the title in ROH, but he was there with the belt. And then famously for me, the first time I ever got to see the 10 pounds of gold in person, live and in person, was when he brought that title to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and he was the PWG Heavyweight Champion and the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and he defended that title against James Gibson. I think this is back in 2005. And no, maybe 2003. I don't know, but it was like the first time I actually got to see that title in person, and it brought back so many memories of of course Jim Crockett Promotions and what the NWA was in the 80s, and then seeing Dan Severn with that belt. I never got to see Dan Severn wrestle with the 10 pounds of gold. They didn't do a lot of stuff out here in California with him, but being able to see AJ do that was really cool. And what I think a lot of people forget is during that time, as the NWA World Champion, you were still working the territories for the NWA. So, between shows where AJ was wrestling for Wildside, later Anarchy, he would show up. He wrestled in 0-1, and this is before he was world champion, but he wrestled in 0-1, challenging Loki for the junior heavyweight championship. He'd come back later and wrestle for the 0-1 lightweight tag team titles. There were a lot of other promotions too, like the NWA Legend Fan Fest. He would work for those dates. He would work for I have a list here. MACW, the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, where they were doing international tours on military bases. So AJ Styles challenged Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in South Korea. I don't think the World Heavyweight Championship has been back to South Korea since then. He was working for promotions like IWA Mid-South and NWA No Limits. And it's very interesting to me that he was still kind of, obviously the TNA schedule was paramount, but he was still working dates for the NWA affiliated promotions. And then, of course, after he left TNA Wrestling, he was still doing some events for the NWA. Like he worked the NWA Summer Clash in Arkansas back in 2014 before he came to the WWE. He also worked for our friends over at Smoky Mountain and wrestled Chase Owens in what was almost like a Bullet Club match, because Chase was getting ready to join the Bullet Club and AJ was essentially leaving the Bullet Club, and they did that back in 2015. So I mean, it's kind of cool when we think about what AJ Styles did for the NWA, and like what Jaden alluded to earlier, his success outside of the NWA, outside of TNA wrestling, really did kind of make what he did in TNA and the NWA more important, because he went on to hold, the TV title. He went on after he left the NWA to hold championship gold for, New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was a 2-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He held the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship, which I think at the time was mostly defended in the UK and in Japan. So I'm not exactly sure where he was wrestling and defending that one, but just bringing more value to those independents. And it just kind of proved, what he did as world champion during TNA wrestling. And then obviously making his debut for the WWE. I feel like when it's all said and done, and if AJ retires this Saturday or not, I think if we look at who the best world heavyweight champion of the last 20 years is, I think the answer is AJ Styles. Do you guys agree, disagree?
In what capacity? Any world champion or the WWE or?
Well, I meant specifically the NWA. For the last 20 years, who was the best NWA world champion?
I'd have to go through that before I say I agree or disagree. I have to go through that with a fine-tooth comb. But I do know he was amazing. NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Another name you forgot to mention, he defended against Chance Prophet, former at the time NWA Dog Champion. And I know that was a great deal. Chance was extremely honored for that. And AJ put a lot of praise on Chance at the time. So that was a big deal for him. And there's a lot people don't realize when it comes to the NWA, AJ helped elevate a lot of talent that we consider the NWA faithful, and made them seem a higher level too by his talent and by just his association, and also just how much giving them in the ring. He made everybody he wrestled look like $1 million.
I have to change what I said, because his last NWA world title reign ended in 2005. So it would have to be the last 21 years because he would not fit into the category of 20 years. And I just feel very old now.
Oh, you are.
We were talking about that too. That's the sad part. We were all message boarding back then.
Yeah.
This.
And it just for giggles, right? If you look at the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, we can go back the last 20 years very easily into 2005, right? Let's see. We had Raven, Jeff Jarrett, Rhino, Christian Cage, Sting, Abyss, Adam Pearce, Brent Albright, Blue Demon Jr., Colt Cabana, The Sheik, Cahagas,
Yay.
Rob Conway, Satoshi Kojima, Hiroshi Tenzin, Jack Stane, R.I.P. brother, Tim Storm, Nick Aldis, Cody, Trevor Murdoch, Matt Cardona, Tyrus, EC3, Tom Latimer, and the Thrillbilly Silas Mason.
Well, then you just answered your own question right there. It was obviously Tyrus.
You motherfucker.
He was the largest world champion, at least out of the group.
Well, I think that's true. I think if you look at AJ's career, is that you would have to say he's probably had, you can make an argument for Cody.
Yeah.
But he's probably had the most successful post-NWA champion career. I mean, Cody had been ROH world champion.
Sure.
Before he briefly held the NWA title. But when you look at what AJ did, going on holding the illegitimate child of the NWA title and the TNA title, holding 2 IWGP titles, holding 2 WWE world titles, I think you'd have to say post NWA champion, he's arguably the most successful.
That's not an apples to apples comparison, though, because his length of time between NWA champion to now is way less than Cody Rhodes' length to NWA champion to now.
Say that again.
His length as the NWA champion to this period, like from when he last held or first held the NWA world title to this date in 2026, is a lot longer period of time than when Cody Rhodes won the NWA title to this period.
I'm not saying it's not. I mean, some of the people that Jay named were at the end of their career when they held the title.
You like Sting?
Yeah, well, Sting and Tenzin and Kojima and stuff like that. Kojima went on to hold the MLW title.
I mean, Kojima's still going, so I'm not going to say he was at the end of his career when he won the title, but certainly he had better days in front of him than behind him.
Better days behind him than in front of him.
Sure, that's what I meant to say.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm just saying when you look, no, it's not a fair comparison because not everybody's in the same place and equal. But the statement still holds. He's probably had the most successful post NWA career.
Yes, as of now, he does. Cody may beat him.
Yeah.
Cody has potential to say he beat him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can make an argument for Cody because, and again, I don't mean anything against AJ Styles. AJ Styles never became a megastar. Cody Rhodes has.
Well, okay, that's fair. But you're talking about in terms of the United States or globally? Because I feel like you got to give AJ the nod when it comes to Japanese wrestling, for he was a multi-time IWGP champion, and he was basically the de facto leader of the Bullet Club when he was a part of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, and that in 375 can really get you a bag of chips.
I would love a bag of chips.
Yes.
I think you'd still owe money.
I meant the small bag.
WWE's the biggest thing there is. Like them, hate them, whatever. They are the biggest thing there is. And they're the biggest thing there is globally. So, yeah, I'm going to put being a megastar here in WWE is going to surpass being a star or even a megastar, if you want to call it that, in Japan.
And add to that, he's a TBS champion too. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know that the markets are comparable. I think a lot of people want New Japan, or at least used to. I think now they're getting their New Japan fix in AEW. I think a lot of people want it like New Japan to be like, oh, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they're second only to WWE, whatever. And I don't know that was ever really the case.
I think if we're talking about, before AEW, I think 100% you could say that New Japan was second to the WWE, with CMLL being right behind both of them. But I think at this point, it's the WWE it's AEW, CMLL it's New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like there's a big gap between number 1 and number 5 for sure. And I feel like New Japan Pro Wrestling has fallen off quite a bit over the last few years, mostly because of AEW taking some of their top names. But
yeah, but I guess I would say since the fall of WCW, I would say it's been WWE ...
Spacebar, backslash.
That's exactly all that. The gap between 1 and 2, whoever 2 was, the gap between 1 and 2 has been big.
All right, so let me ask you another question as we are now transitioning away. Real quick, last thing about AJ is I did get to see AJ up close and personal back, I think this was in 2016. Maybe it's 2017. And the belt that he's holding in that photo, you could see to the right near the Mexican flag, that's his signature, because that's the belt that is currently sitting right here on my desk. And he was the second name to sign this belt, the first being Colt Boom Boom Cabana. And all it cost me was the price of a wristband, which I think was like $5. So shout out to AJ. Thanks for signing my belt and being a cool dude when I met you.
And that's before he had the soccer mother haircut.
Yeah, it was starting to come in the soccer mother haircut. I think he was growing it. Like one more time. Like now this is a photoshopped photo, but you can kind of see the locks behind the ear. He was starting to grow it out.
Karen cut.
The Karen cut. All right.
It's not a Karen cut though, but yeah.
Fair enough. We, of course, are an NWA podcast live stream. We talk National Wrestling Alliance. That's what we do here. Talk NWA. This is the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. Your number one source
of news information for the National Wrestling Alliance. I got practice of that doing the outro.
You did. And if you go to the website right now, of course, alliance-wrestling.com, we have articles about Talos challenging for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown Championship. We have articles about World Heavyweight Champion Thrillbilly Silas Mason and where he's defended the title as of late. We have articles about the World Junior Heavyweight Champion Spencer Slade and where he's defending the title next. Of course, articles about Pretty Boy Smooth signing the NWA contract that he recently signed. So we are really trying to keep you abreast of what's happening in the National Wrestling Alliance. And of course, this Saturday night, if you are in around the Tennessee area, the Nashville area, the Rhea County Rumble with Joe Kazana Promotions, they'll be having both the national champion and the world heavyweight champion Mondo and Silas Mason respectively defending their titles. I highly suggest you guys check that out if you're in the area, and if not, make sure you subscribe to the Joe Kazana Promotions YouTube channel, because those matches might find their way up on that YouTube channel. But something I was thinking about, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it, and I want to talk to the audience too and see what you guys think. But I was watching NWA Power this week, and I came to the conclusion that there is something awry with the National Wrestling Alliance and the roster. There's confusing points here. And I remember back in the day when Dave Lagana was still running or helping to run the NWA, that he said that, there aren't necessarily black versus white. There's a lot of varying shades of gray with regards to good guys versus bad guys. And as I'm watching the show, I started to think about, who are the baby faces in the NWA right now? Who are the wrestlers that are cheered wherever they go? Not just in Tampa, Brian Idol, but wherever they go. And yeah, I'll never miss an opportunity to take a dig at Brian Idol. And I kept thinking about this as I'm watching Power.
Most of the roster, but go ahead.
Well, and I'm thinking about it. Who is the face of this promotion? Who is the good guy? Because there's a lot of bad guys to cheer. We had Aaron Stevens, who has his Federation of Champions, and DK's talking.
Hold on just a
second. So it's like, who is the baby face of the NWA? Because there's plenty of heels. Say that again.
The most popular faces in the NWA are all heels.
Well, like, I can't even think of a face. Like, who's somebody that's celebrated across the board as a baby face?
All right. Well, do you have the roster in front of you?
I will get it in front of me. You bet your sweet ass I will.
I do have a sweet ass, but I wouldn't bet it. I don't take that bet. But I know, again, I'm going to say right now, the three most popular acts in the NWA are all heels. It's the Slime Balls, it's Mondo, and it's Thrillbilly.
So, all right. Now, I think maybe I have one answer. Colby Carino. And
until he starts wrestling again, does that count?
Maybe not. So let's go through the roster, and if DK jumps back on, we'll get his opinion too. But just alphabetical order. First up, AJ Kazana, face, heel, or tweener?
Heel.
Currently heel.
Alex Misery.
Eyeball.
If you say his name 3 times, he'll show up in the chat.
Tweener.
Okay.
He's a tweener.
Alex Taylor.
Heel be face.
Brian Idol.
100% the most over and loved star in all the National Wrestling Alliance. That's why a lot of the NWA talent will cut his picture out of when they're posting the images, because they're jealous of how over he is.
I don't know how to respond.
I mean, look, I can acknowledge that he gets a good reaction when they're in Tampa. But he doesn't wrestle like a babyface. His promos aren't like a babyface. And he sure as hell doesn't sound like a babyface when he's going after independent talent on X. He sounds like a real asshole, if you ask me. But nevertheless, is he a face, a tweener, or a heel? If you had to say which one he is, DK, is he face, tweener, or heel?
Yes.
Yes.
I say he's a wiener.
All right.
Idol is operating as a face currently.
Say that one more time.
He's saying he's operating as a face.
Yeah, in other words, he's kind of filling the role as a face. I don't know that in that he's primarily wrestling heels in the NWA, but the NWA has so many heels, it's kind of
Well, we're going through the list in alphabetical order. How about Carnage? Now, for the record, Blunt Force Trauma were abandoned by Aaron Stevens, but are they face? Are they heel? Are they tweeners?
I kind of watched some of that match today, and we'll get into it more, but I would say they're tweeners.
Okay.
Any disagree?
DK. Carnage, face or tweener or heel?
heel or tweener. I'm not really sure. I need to see more of them. They haven't. This is really the first thing they've done since
Letting with Aaron.
When they've done since the Aaron Stevens thing.
Carson Drake obviously is a heel. I don't think we need to discuss that.
And he doesn't know what Beta Ellen is either.
Colby Carino.
Probably the only face in the company, and he's injured.
Yeah, I think you're right. DK, any disagreement there?
No, he's primarily a face at the moment.
Okay, Daisy Kill.
I do have a face, but go ahead. I now have one. I'll wait till you get to him. But Kill's a heel.
Do you agree?
Tweener.
Okay.
His
that
style
brings
is
us
definitely heel. That's why I want to go with that.
Damage from Blunt Force Trauma. Heel
We already
tweener.
established that. He's a tweeter.
Damian Fenrir.
Don't know, don't care.
Tweener, because we really can't tell, because I think whoever he wrestles, he's the opposite.
Yeah, I feel like he's a heel. I like watching him wrestle. The way he wrestles, I feel he's a heel. EC3.
He's MIA. He's gone.
Okay, he's still on the roster poster. Eric Smalls.
He is a he. Too small to be a heel.
He's an HE''LL.
Watching him is like hell.
Oh, there you go. Frank.
I'll go back to operational face in that he's been against the heels.
What about Frank?
You're supposed to say the what about Tamondo?
Well, we'll get to Mondo. Frank is the artist formerly known as Judeus.
Heel.
He hasn't been around much. I mean, typically the Lost and James Mitchell have been heels, but they've kind of been facing Aaron Stevens' group recently, just sort of made them faces. Because
leaders.
Billy loves heel versus heel. He might be the only person on the planet, but he loves a good heel versus heel feud so that the audience doesn't have anyone to cheer for. And I'll go with a tweener just because I don't know.
All right. I kind of scrolled down because I know who Jaden was talking about. Gags the
It'll be a
Gimp.
while till we get to him.
Yeah. Gags the Gimp. Tweener at best.
Can we say waste of space?
Sure.
Okay.
Back to the don't care.
Greta, who is aligned with TVMA, so we're just going to say heel. Hollywood Haley J.
She wrestles like a heel, but she's over like a babyface.
DK?
I mean, yeah, her persona's more heel. I mean, look, Steve Austin, heel or face, wrestled the same. So,
when he wasn't stunning.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm going to go heel just based on persona.
Okay. Let's see. That takes us to the Hard Way, which is formerly the JV Squad. Jack Vaughn and I can't remember his partner's name. It doesn't list. Dalton McKenzie.
They are heels. Yeah, they're heels. I think about that. They're heels.
Okay. The Hex.
They wrestle as heels, but they're being positioned as baby faces.
Basically.
And this one is, I'm going to ask DK his opinion first because I know he's got a special relationship with this wrestler. Hunter.
Oh. Can we go back to the waste of space? Don't know, don't care.
Sure.
You make me sad.
I say he's flushable.
Oh, my God. Jeremiah Plunkett.
He's a heel in the company, but we love him and he's our baby face.
He's our baby face. That's you damn right. Casey Kazana.
Tweener. Heel.
Heel.
Heel. Yeah, heel.
He's kind of more heel than AJ.
He really is. And they showed it. We'll get to this week's Power in just a minute, but they were showing the post-match consequences between Pretty Empowered and the Kazana brothers. And, you know, AJ clotheslined the hell out of Kenzie, and then after the match was checking on her. And I was like, well, that's kind of a face move. You know, like he's been a heel, he's been positioned as a heel, but after he clotheslined her to hell, he did check in on her. Kratos.
He wrestles as a heel, but I guess he's the babyface.
The
And that's
Immortals,
not the same as a tweener, by the way.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
no, the Immortals. I'm less worried about how they wrestle, and more how they interact with the crowd. And right now, they're interacting as faces.
So we'll say Kratos is a face. So that's one that we weren't considering. All right, Kenzie Page,
Heel.
Tweener.
Kerry Morton,
Heel.
He's probably more heel than the other two members of the Southern Six.
And he's good at it, too.
Yeah, he is.
He never should be a baby. He should go right straight to heel. He's not Ricky. He's more Tully, his real father.
Shit.
I thought Robert was his real father.
No, that's what what's his name said, but it's definitely Tully.
Real quick, I know Matthew Underwood has been advocating for Tully to come to the NWA and manage Kerry Morton. So you kind of just did a self-fulfilling prophecy there. Well, not self-fulfilling, but a prophecy nevertheless. Lev from the Lost.
Leader.
DK.
Tween.
Lockjaw Drake.
He is a extra from the movie Mask. And not the cool cartoon with the changing cars that weren't Transformers. But are in the same universe along with that NGA Joe.
DK, thoughts on Lockjaw Drake, babyface heel?
I mean, he's currently a heel in the sense that he's with a heel group. I can't help but feel that at some point he's not going to turn because of the way they are kind of booking him and Carson together.
Him and the rest of the cavemen that were baby faces when they save you 15% or more with car insurance.
I'm going to say this. Anybody with a Kid Rock tattoo on their calf is a heel. Mike Knox.
Heel, right? Now?
Heel.
You know, he does beat up a midget.
He for sure a heel. Mike Mondo.
He is a heel that is over like a babyface.
Yes.
Our boy, Big Strong Mims.
He is a babyface that's over like a heel.
You know, so he's an interesting dichotomy, and he's one that I think we're going to stutter on because Mims was a babyface when he first came into the company. He was under the tutelage of the Pope for a short time, even teaming with the Pope at the Crockett Cup. Then when the Pope left, he was kind of on his own, and after a while, fell under the tutelage of the church's money, Black G's, and was leveraged as a heel. Then when he lost the title to Mike Mondo in a heel move, and the former babyface Pope caused that, it kind of split the dichotomy where he was no longer really a heel, but not necessarily a face. And we haven't seen much of the Pope and Mims interaction since, but we have seen Mims and El Nihan Dragon. So I don't know where to put Mims, to be quite honest. I don't know what he is at this point.
Well, it's weird, and some of it has, again, to do with the horrible timing that the NWA is on. You would have thought in Mims versus Pope that it would have been Mims as a face and Pope as a heel because of the way things had gone.
Yeah.
But because at the taping, nobody knew what had happened.
Right.
Mims was the heel and Pope was the face.
Which when we get to him, I'll talk about that.
And then it's, I don't know. I guess I'll call him a tweener in that he can kind of be face or heel depending on who he's wrestling. I don't know what to consider the big ugly guy. So,
which oddly enough, he is not on the roster, the big ugly guy, which I think you mean El Nihan Dragon.
No, I mean big ugly guy.
Who's the big ugly guy?
No, it's the guy, but
He likes that name better for El Nihon Dragon.
Got it. Now, I think Noob can answer this for us, but what about Natalia Markova? I mean, I feel like she is a baby face. I feel like they've leveraged her as a baby face. They've always put her as like the heart of a champion, right? Like when she wrestled Camille, they kept talking about her tenacity. When she wrestled Max the Impaler, again, kept going about Markova's tenacity and you know, kind of like that baby face spirit at least. And I don't really remember Markova wrestling in a heel fashion.
The problem is she has a heel promo.
Markova has a heel promo?
Yeah. I'm not just a pretty face. It just her promo is very heelish.
I think that's your Russian bias coming through right now. And
honestly, no, not true. I love Nikita Koloff, and he was, Nikita Koloff, and he was a babyface.
I don't know how to respond to that. Markova has when she first came, she was kind of positioned as a heel.
Yeah.
Remember her thing with Mae Young and Mae Valentine and all that. But she's been positioned as a face because the women's champions have been heels, even though in both cases the women's champions are often more popular than the faces that they wrestled. So I think she has been positioned as a face just based on the fact that she's been wrestling heels.
Okay.
NWA is very convoluted.
Well, yeah, we've been saying that for how long has the NWA been around? How long has Power been on the air?
Well, yeah, under
less than that. It wasn't as bad in the pre-COVID days.
I don't know. Nick Aldis really made things muddied
He's
up.
a champion. That's supposed to be, though. The world champion is supposed to be muddy.
All right.
And he was a ham sandwich jabroni. No, just kidding.
Well, Dave Lagana had made it clear that he was one of those morons that didn't think face or heel was applicable in modern wrestling. Somebody, I don't remember if it was Pollo or not, said that Billy just wants them to, just wants them to go out and wrestle and see how the crowd reacts. The problem is the crowd reacts differently depending on who's wrestling. We've seen Odison switch face heel multiple times just based on who he was wrestling. He was a heel for a long time, and then they put him in the ring with another heel, and suddenly he was a face.
And he wrestles as a face, and we'll get to that when we get to him. So, who's next, Jay?
Well, yeah. Okay, we'll just move on.
So Markova is a face, but her promo is a heel.
Okay. Odinson.
Hey, that's serendipitous. He wrestles as a baby face. He's a baby face most of the time. But again, if he's wrestling against a baby face, people see him as a heel.
Yeah.
He is more baby face, I think, than his partner is when it comes to this tag team.
Well, that's kind of interesting because, like you said, Kratos has been back and forth as well. Now, what about Pretty Boy Smooth, PB Smooth, the 5-head?
He's a heel with a really big head.
And do you think with EC3 being gone, is that going to change anything?
No.
Okay.
His biggest money, if anybody has any sense, his biggest money is as a heel with a good manager behind him.
What do you think about Pastor CeeLo as a manager?
I think he needs to go find Mr. Papadopoulos, and I maybe it's again how he's presented. He might be great, but the presentation is not very good.
DK, do you have anything you want to
add? As for Zippy.
Zippy the Pinhead. I love it.
He Well, you're the one that came up with it or started it or noticed it or whatever the correct phrase is. As for him, he would be better off as a heel. And I think without EC3, it can be made a little more clear that he's a heel. Because EC3 seemed to be another one who didn't want to get caught up in the whole heel face thing.
So that brings us to the Pope.
He is a babyface who is being mislabeled and mispromoted as a heel.
Yes, 100%.
All right, now let me swerve the conversation a bit because we know the Pope is capable.
Jake Strickland is not part of this company.
Shit. Let me change it up on you. Is the Pope being a babyface? He has heel tendencies. He has done a heel work with TNA Wrestling. When he was introduced to the NWA, he came in mostly as a heel, looking for his Fall Hossman, if you can recall. Now that EC3 is out of the picture, Pretty Boy Smooth could use a mentor. The Pope no longer has a protege in Mims. What about pairing the Pope and Pretty Boy Smooth?
Despite the obvious racism that you're putting them together, that actually works really well.
It's not racist. It's not based on...
Anytime that somebody immediately thinks of putting a black guy with a black guy because they're both black guys, that's a little racist there.
It's not because they're both black guys. It's because EC3 was his mentor, was Pretty Boy Smooth's mentor. Now that EC3's out of the picture, who is his mentor? And the other wrestler on the roster who has been known to take on proteges was the Pope. I'm just taking the de facto protege-mentor relationship and establishing it, connecting it to two parties that were not connected prior. When the Pope came to the NWA, he was looking for a group. Remember that. Like, that was his intent, was to form his own Fall Hossman. Well, couldn't Pretty Boy Smooth be his Sid Vicious?
When he came in, he was looking to be more of a manager than an active wrestler, and then he kind of got over more and became the active wrestler. Here's my problem. I'm not saying it's not a good idea, but I don't, as wrestlers, I don't see Pope and Smooth being a good combination as far as styles, personalities, and everything. Something about it does not appeal. Something about it doesn't appeal to me.
The other part of it for me too is when you mix in Pastor CeeLo and the Holy Grail, right? The Holy Grail with the religious undertones to it. You know, it kind of works without EC3 and with Pope in play. You know, and
Deacon Smooth.
You know who would be better for Smooth?
Altar Boy Smooth.
Shit.
If I were just doing this, you know, someone say,
Sure.
"Hey, Devin, who would you put Smooth with?"
Sure.
Make Smooth a better wrestler.
Who?
I would put Smooth with Trevor Murdoch to fill in for Knox while Knox is injured, because that's a big guy.
Yeah.
Murdoch's a big guy, and I think he could learn from Murdoch how to work a good big man style. I'm not Smooth's biggest fan because I don't like his in-ring work. I really don't.
It's funny that you say that because when I was talking to Mike Knox back in back in October after the injury, he was explaining to me that one of the guys he wanted to work with was Smooth, because he's like, Smooth is a big guy, but doesn't know how to work as a big guy. And that was coming from Mike Knox. And I don't think he meant that as an insult, but like I think he was talking of the potential that Smooth has in the ring because he's such a big guy. We're not taking anything away from PB Smooth as a wrestler, but surely he could benefit from working with somebody who's a little bit of a bigger size. I think repetition.
I'm taking a little bit away from him at the moment, but
right, fine.
I think I want to see him maybe in a proper big man team. I don't I don't think EC3 was the right partner for him. And by the same thing, I don't know that Pope would be the right partner for him if he's to grow as a wrestler and improve. I think if Knox was still healthy, I'd say, make those guys a trio or something. But for now, I would have him kind of just be like Murdoch's, new partner to chase after things and stuff like that. I think Murdoch's in a time of his career where, I wouldn't mind. I want him and Thoroughbilly to face off against each other so Thoroughbilly can get the win. But I think Murdoch's probably better off as a tag team guy at this moment. And I think Smooth's somebody who he could take, and especially with Knox, Knox there is still, being in the corner or whatever, and they can go and they can work with him and probably make him a better big man wrestler. Where, the idea is that he needs to be more, and he either needs to be destroying the small guys or having slobber knockers with the big guys.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
All right, let's move on from PB Smooth and the Pope. We both hit that. Our World's Heavyweight Champion.
He is a babyface that is now doing promos like a heel and trying to wrestle like a heel, which he wasn't. He was wrestling before he was a heel who was doing promos and wrestling like a babyface. But I wouldn't call him a tweener.
What would you call him, DK?
I don't know. After Power, I'm not sure what he is.
Apparently, he's enough to make DK run away.
And he's back.
I never left.
It was weird. They just bopped you out, and then it said you were back in.
It showed me like I have been put in the green room, but it's like I never left. I haven't done anything.
It was, you know what? I bet you it was real Billy. He's mad at you, DK.
He
had Pollo do it.
Pollo behind the scenes.
That sounds just like that. And I know Pollo. She didn't do it herself. She sent Paul to do it.
Hey, Matthew, what? I'm confused by your comment here. Help explain yourself. I don't know what you mean. In Bishop, Pretty Boy Smooth, and Pollo Del Mar? Or
I think he's trying to say be Pollo Del Mar with Pretty Boy Smooth.
And maybe Ben Bishop, is that what you meant? In Bishop, Ben Bishop, maybe that's what it was. Voice to text sometimes could be a bitch.
The Skyscrapers.
Look, I don't think Ben Bishop is going to be a free agent much longer anyways, but if he were, I think he would be a lot of fun in the NWA, and in what capacity, I don't think it really even matters, but that would be...
He is 6'12".
Lance Archer just put him over recently, and he called him 6'12", and I popped for that. Serena Vale.
She's cute, but she's the heel.
Yeah, she's the heel.
I do like my vampire chicks, though.
Well, I should be careful what I say. What about Spencer Slade?
He is a heel. We like him, but he is definitely a heel. He's probably the most heel that isn't Carson Drake in Aaron Stevens' group.
Okay.
PK?
I don't know, because I know we like him. I don't know how the crowd likes him. And again, he's been wrestling heels, so it kind of gets confusing. Billy's favorite. Again.
All right. Well, then we'll move on. And then that brings us to the Slime Balls.
They are baby faces in a heel group.
I kind of feel the same way. DK, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd compare him to Rick Steiner in the Varsity Club.
That's actually very appropriate. I get the reference. Tom Latimer.
I was thinking more real quick. I was thinking he was more oh crap, what was his name? Mighty Wilbur in the Paul Jones Army. I think that's the Slime Balls. A better description.
Okay.
Please don't ever bring up the Mighty Wilbur again.
He still owes DK $20 and some smokes.
It's the smokes that's important.
I think I already know the answer, but Tiffany Nieves. Oh wait, we didn't
What
finish
about Tom Latimer?
We didn't finish Tom.
He's a heel.
He's a heel.
But he could be a babyface if they knew what they were doing.
So in his feud with EC3, he was the de facto babyface, yes?
Yes.
In his rivalry with Silas Mason, I mean, they didn't have like a bunch of matches. They really just had the one encounter. I don't feel like he was a heel during that encounter either.
I don't think Thrillbilly was the heel in that encounter either. But
well, yeah, that's. How did Jaden put it earlier? Maybe the other direction. Tom is a heel who they've kind of put in a babyface position, but he's better as a heel.
Yeah, I think we could all agree that he's better as a heel.
And so
Sammy didn't say where they should be during this whole conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. We did.
Well, some people, they can work either place, and it's where are they currently working. But Latimer is one of those people who I just, they used to say about Edge and Christian, one was a better heel and one was a better face when the teams would go back and forth. And this is one of those situations where I feel Latimer is better when he works heel.
I do agree.
So
I concur. You mangy cur.
Oh my god. All right, then what about now that my computer?
Now the Funk Soul Brother.
What about again Tiffany Nieves? I mean, I think it's pretty apparent she's a heel. She wrestles as a heel. She's her persona is a heel. What I mean, am I wrong?
Nope. You're right. Don't let it go to your head.
Trevor Murdoch.
He is a heel except for when he's kicking midgets.
I won't. DK?
Yeah, how can you disagree with that?
That's that's a good point. Rounding out the roster, we got Tyler Franks.
I don't care.
Here's a TikTok trend. Who? All right, there we go. That was my impression of an owl who sees Tyler Franks wrestle. Next up.
Real quick, guys, one of us was actually possessed by an owl.
I wonder which one.
Not me. Must be Jaden then.
Who?
Exactly.
I had to do it because you guys, I had no option.
I figured that one out pretty quick. So apparently, Jaden.
I think we can all agree Wrecking Ball Legursky is a babyface.
Yes, and he was the one I was going to tell you about before.
Yeah,
he is the only true babyface in the company, I think.
And it's weird because he was a part of that heel tag team, the Fixers, for such a long time. And when they first came in, Colby was their manager. They were a heel team. Then they went face as the American, like the red-blooded Americans when they won the U.S. tag titles. And Wrecking Ball Legursky never really changed up who he was at that point. He was basically a babyface while teaming with Jay Bradley, who was a heel. Interestingly enough, Jay Bradley's profile isn't on the NWA website. But you know whose profile is? The Masked Man Zion.
I think he's secretly a psychologist of some kind.
I think he's the son of Austin Idol and the brother of Brian Idol.
I think he should take the mask off and go work somewhere else.
He would. He does in a psychiatry office, or motivational speaker, or whatever the hell he's supposed to be.
He should leave the mask off and work somewhere else.
Matthew Underwood. I can't repeat what's on the screen, but good Lord. And Matthew, who did you say needed to be a Finley style heel? I don't know who that was in reference to.
Probably Latimer. He was one that fits the qualifications most, I think.
Maybe. So that kind of does that portion of the show. And in all honesty, we could talk about Power in 20 minutes and call it a night.
Go. Let's keep.
I did not take extensive notes on this week's Power. I was multitasking while watching this week's Power, so I'm not going to be able to break down every segment, but I did watch everything. And we had talked about this. You guys had watched it before I did, and you both were not super overwhelmed with this week's episode. I think I was appropriately whelmed with this week's episode. The shenanigans in the world title match, I did feel like that hurt that title match. And honestly, when I look back at it a year from now, I'm not going to remember Smalls being involved or Trevor Murdoch. I'm just going to remember the outcome of that match. Likewise, I'm not going to think too much about the tag team title match, and I'm not going to think too much about the women's world title match. But let's start off with the beginning of the show. We have the BFT taking on the team of the Immortals, the World Tag Team Champions. The match started off where the BFT attacked the Immortals right off the bat. So that kind of lends to them being more of a heel tag team, because you don't normally attack another team as a baby face, right?
Not with their backs turned.
I really want to see BFT call it a day. I think that the team itself has run its course. I don't see a lot of net positive by keeping both men as a tag team, where I feel like one of the guys is really, really good and still maybe in his prime, and one of the guys could maybe walk away from in-ring competition. And I feel like at this point, the gimmick is kind of weighing both men down. Even if you took both men out of that gimmick, I think they could still do entertaining stuff. But at this point, Blunt Force Trauma hasn't won a match in a year. Like, it's been over a year now. They were winless in 2025. Why they even got a shot at the tag titles, I'm not entirely sure. They don't have Stevens as a manager anymore. I just don't see what you do with BFT at this point. DK, what did you think about the match? What do you think about what to do with BFT?
Well, I've been advocating for BFT to split up for a long time now. And
One Corgan tag team, Billy Corgan, won't split up.
I know, it's crazy. They need to ride off into the sunset. We need to see.
And somebody needs to come back on a rocket.
Okay, well, look, tonight I'm not going to play the game. A lot of times I'm willing to play the game, but I'm not. They need to get Marche Rocket back in as a singles wrestler out from underneath the mask. And, let us.
Or the Owl.
Let us see what he can do. Build him maybe as a potential threat for Thrillbilly. It's just time to end them. They've run their course, like Jay said. It's they don't have to have a big breakup. They don't have to be Doom 2.0 again and face each other or whatever. Just it's time. Let them ride off into the sunset. Bring Marche Rocket out, and let's see what he can do as a solo wrestler. The match itself, the guys faced each other way too many times last year, and this didn't rank close to any of those matches. I was primarily bored. It was the fifth match that I've never asked for and didn't want to see, and it wasn't as good as their previous matches. So, and part of it's because I got to get this in here. Part of it's because we got a 50-minute show, and they tried to cram in 3 title matches, promos, interviews, blah, 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 upcoming next week stuff. So, we had 8 minutes a match or something like that available to us?
Yeah. Well, and I think and Jaden, I want your point of view too, but I also feel like at this point, I'm not sure what more we can even do with these guys. You know, I'm not sure what more there needs to be done. And like you said, unmasking them and having them go their separate ways, I think would be the best course of action. Jaden, what do you think about this tag team and what to do with this tag team? And what did you think about the match?
Match was okay. It's definitely the worst of the match I've seen out of this combination of teams. If we're going to go on the J Cal method of putting teams together, how about if you're gonna get rid of Blunt Force Trauma, maybe bring in Marche Rockin teaming up with Mims and make that a tag team. But
I don't get why you'd put those guys together as a tag team though.
Why? Because neither of them are doing anything, so they need to do something, and I think they can get over. Because right now, here's another problem the NWA has: they have maybe 3-4 tag teams, and they've all pretty much have faced against the Immortals before.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You need something fresh. And Marche Rocket without a mask, maybe against I'm trying to think of who else he could be in the ring with. Maybe him and Hammerstone or something. They need something. You know, maybe single/tag team.
Well,
him and Hammerstone is a combination, Ebony and Ivory.
If I were to put, I would not put Rocket and Marche Rocket into a tag team. I would have his first match back be that he basically squashes Idol for the TV title.
I'm all for that one.
And then squashes Carson Drake too. And then squashes Idol again. And then squashes Carson Drake again. And then squashes the Gags the Pimp and sends him out of the business.
Well, I mean, I would have him have like a 5, 6, 7 title defense. Well, not 7, because I don't want him to hit the lucky 7. He can get screwed out of the TV title somehow. But yeah, I basically have him come in and squash a series of people in title matches, TV title matches. That's what I do, and then see where we go from here, including Big Ugly Dude. And so next, what else happened on the show, Jay?
Well, it's funny because you guys kind of mentioned what's next for the tag team champions, because they've pretty much faced the decreasing tag team division, but they did have a post-match promo somewhere in all of this where the Good Brothers did confront them and said, "Hey man, we got no heat. This isn't us coming after you. We're just saying we would like to challenge for those tag titles." And it was kind of like a matter of respect, where I felt like they came at the Immortals, you know, Anderson and Gallows came at the tag team champions in a very head-on approach without a sneak attack. There's no animosity here, just two good tag teams that could face off down the road. And of course, I feel like that would be a very good proving match for Odinson and Kratos, considering, you know, yes, they beat everyone in the NWA, but who, you know, I don't think there's another tag team out there in pro wrestling that are free agents that have the cachet and value of the Good Brothers. I mean, do you guys agree or disagree?
I mean, overall, I thought it was a good thing. I was trying to figure out if they were trying to set that up for the TV tapings that were going to come.
I feel like that's a TV taping match, yeah, because we do know that the Good Brothers will be there for both sets of tapings that are happening on February, I think, 21st.
Hope it's not.
Yeah, but there's another set of tapings that have already taken place and we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, those happened in December, and we don't know. And I don't think,
but they weren't there.
Yeah, the Good Brothers weren't there for those.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see. I would think that that's not a match you'd want for a TV taping, but since they're not doing signature live events at the moment, I guess it's their.
These are all TV tapings, just badly formatted.
Say it again.
They're all TV tapings, just the PLEs are badly formatted for TV.
Yes. And so, I don't know. What else happened, Jay?
We also got the promo from the Page sisters looking not to TVMA for a women's tag team title match, but more of a test of skills between the Hex. They want to get a match with the Hex, and I feel like that would be a very interesting matchup as well. And I don't know if the Hex were there for the tag team or for the next set of TV tapings, but in December. But we know that they are on the roster right now, so anything is possible. That leads us to the women's match. They did a couple of the old promos from last week. I still think it's funny that Matt Cardona is looking for Billy Corgan throughout other people's promos. I wish they'd have done more of that because I think it would have added more towards the just the fun of seeing Cardona interrupt people's promos looking for Corgan. The next match is we get Shotzi Blackheart versus Natalia Markova. And again, I feel like this was a pretty good match, but I don't feel like it got out of second gear. Like I said, I don't have a well-kept notes, but that missile drop kick from Markova, I almost knew that was going to be the end of it. Of course, she ends the match with a beautiful disaster. And I felt like this was a very good match for Markova. It's a big win for her, considering that Shotzi Blackheart has a big name on the independent scene right now. I don't know that there's a bigger star in women's wrestling who is currently available to the NWA than Shotzi. Sure, that's fair. I guess Paige would be a bigger name than Shotzi, but realistically, I feel like Shotzi was a good choice and came in and did the JOB to the world champion. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I wasn't expecting, a 5-star Meltzer Award winning match, but it lived up to my expectations, and I thought it was fun. Jaden, what did you think of this match?
It was okay. It's a good win for Markova. Good win over the PWI Independent Wrestler of the Year, Shotzi Blackheart, the cover girl. One of 4 covers they're doing apparently for the PWI End of Year Awards. It was fine. I agree. Never got out of second gear. Never got into second gear.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of plodding. Dropkick was great. Should be her finisher. I hate the beautiful disaster finisher because it doesn't look like it hits impact. It just looks like she puts her butt against her. Which I'm sure, I know there's Noob and other people would probably jump to that. But
Noob says
it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, in the picture on Google, he definitely said it's inappropriate because it should be him in that picture.
DK, your thoughts on this one?
Good for what it was. I mean, again, we had like an 8-minute match of, there was no time to get into second gear. So, yeah, nothing wrong with it. I don't remember anything major that made me think, oh, wow, that looked bad or anything. So, fine little match. I won't remember it in, 6 months, but sure.
It'll look good on cage match results because we all know cage match is the end all be all of professional wrestling. I also felt like the crowd was very tired, by the way.
For sure. And I mean, like it's a long 4-hour TV taping. I don't feel like that's that's hard
5.
to keep. Yeah, probably closer to 5. You're right. I don't think it's possible to keep a crowd that energized for 5 hours. And again, goes back to production and pacing of a TV show. If the NWA was smart, they would take a page out of Dave Marquez's booking and literally not even booking, but just show process, just the format of a show. You do 1 or 2 matches, title match, 1 or 2 matches, title match, because this isn't a pay-per-view and nobody's going to be the wiser. And honestly, I would put some of these bigger moment matches earlier on the show. You give me 2 preliminary type matches and then give me a big world title match. And that way, at least the people who are there during that time are still going to be excited about it. Like, do we really need a hot crowd for the Slime Balls versus EC3 or not even EC3, but PB Smooth and Cristiano Argento, whatever it is. Like, I don't need a hot crowd for that match. But a hot crowd for this match might have made a difference. A hot crowd for the main event might have made a difference. So, anyway, I was just about to look up online, and I'm still going to look it up right now, but when is Giselle Shaw supposed to have worked for the NWA?
That was in the TV tapings in December, right?
I think so. I'm gonna look real quick.
But what do I know?
Yeah, it was the December 13th TV taping. So we'll see Giselle Shaw then. And that's the next big opponent for Natalia Markova. And it's kind of interesting that, I'm not saying that they're real quick. Matthew Underwood said, Chris Henry said that there was a 3.5 hour runtime. That show didn't look like it was a 3.5 hour long show. And if it was a 3.5 hour long show, they literally pulled like 5 weeks of wrestling out of 3.5 hours.
Well, they do just, like when they're doing the skits and everything like that, you could tell that they were inserting some post-production stuff.
Sure.
Or pre-production stuff, as I think some of the stuff may be recorded beforehand.
Yeah.
And which somehow they can't do the post-production when they need to. But, yeah, I know the one before that Rick went to, he said ran about 4 hours. So
that's wild.
Cup felt like it was like 7.
Probably. And so, yeah, I don't know. I could not handle this.
That brings us to the main event. And again, big proponent of Thrillbilly Silas Mason. In fact, I'll be honest, I felt like this was a great spot for Matt Cardona. I know that when they filmed this match, they had no idea Cardona was going back to the WWE.
I found out that they probably did know.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I heard somebody that said that he was going back from the at least from the John Cena showing up time when he showed up for the John Cena tournament.
But this match was filmed in October.
Yeah, but I have a feeling he knew he was going back.
Okay. Well, regardless, I wish
there was a chance.
And that's probably why they put it there, because they know they had to capitalize on it.
Sure. I wish they would have done this differently. We could have had a really good hardcore match between Silas Mason and Matt Cardona to show how tough Silas Mason is. I mean, look, you put him in the ring next to Cardona, and one of the big things I always talk about is the poster test. To either of you, did Silas Mason look outclassed by Matt Cardona?
No.
Did he look?
Cardona looked weaker because he kept the shirt on.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. But and I was just thinking, like, seeing Thrillbilly in the ring with Matt Cardona made me feel like, well, you could see Thrillbilly in a WWE ring. Like, how awkward would it be to see him in a WWE match? Not at all. He fits in. He passes the poster test. He's a big dude. He's a buff dude, and he can wrestle well. So that part I was kind of like, all right. And the fact that it became a hardcore match, I wasn't exactly thrilled with. But again, with Cardona and his history, especially with the NWA, he's done several hardcore matches. So I was all right with that. Where things got silly was, the spot with Smalls. Obviously, I didn't need Trevor Murdoch to come out during this match and interrupt it. I wish they would have given me a more straight up match. I understand that they wanted to build up Tom Latimer for this match. And I think there might have been some question about Tom Latimer's health in this match. And that's why he didn't get in the ring. He might not have been cleared to wrestle, but nevertheless, I feel like the NWA did drop the ball by not just straight up advertising this as a Matt Cardona versus Silas Mason match. You know, with post production, you could have edited this to make it look like anything. And sure, they could have had the same hijinks and the same silliness, but this could have been just booked or advertised as a straight up Matt Cardona from SmackDown challenging the NWA World Champion. And at least it would have given the appeal or the sense that, wow, the NWA has Matt Cardona. He was just in WWE. He was on SmackDown literally a few nights ago getting his butt kicked by Kit Wilson. Now he's in the ring getting his butt kicked by Silas Mason. So I was okay with the match, but again, I didn't like the chicanery of, you know, Smalls punching them in the balls. I didn't think that was I never found that spot to be funny or entertaining. And I feel like that's a Billy probably just thinks that's the most hilarious thing because they keep going back to it. But I feel like it was a good win for Mason to say that he beat a former champion. I know that's one of Jaden's, like, check that off the list. He beat a former champion. He beat a WWE name. And I feel like that's a solid for the NWA when it comes to that. DK, what did you think of the match? What did you think of just the outcome of Mason getting a big victory over Cardona?
Didn't like the match. It was just too busy. There's too much going on. Thoroughbilly sold too much. Didn't need Smalls. Didn't need Murray. It almost seemed like they were wrapping up Cardona in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't need that in my world title match. So it was kind of a F for me. Here's my problem with the stupidity of how it was done. Like you were saying, and maybe they had to make a last minute change because Latimer was injured or something. But when they first announced that it was going to be a rematch, and part of the reason they think they had to do a rematch was because they hadn't announced yet that the title had changed hands.
Right.
But, you know, the first reaction of a lot of people was kind of a groan. Crap. Why are they doing that again? You know, and so they had to advertise that. They didn't advertise a match that maybe you could have advertised and drawn a few more people. And let's remember that place was not sold out. And then they had to advertise Latimer again for the match at the TV tapings. So they basically, for 3 events, they've had to advertise Thoroughbilly versus Latimer, Thoroughbilly versus Latimer, even though that's not the match we got, and then Thoroughbilly versus Latimer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous on the scale of help me be interested. And I don't know what they think most of the time. But like I said, F on the match. Maybe a C- or a D+ on the show overall. Just didn't. It was pitchy, dog.
Not for me, dog.
I'll blame dog on this.
I'm blaming you specifically, dog.
Well, I'm not dog. I'm just a representative. And if you're going to blame anybody, blame either Obama or Dave Dahl.
Dave Dahl. So what did you think, dog?
I thought this felt like a Vince Russo match.
It's fair.
I thought maybe that they got a JCW script by accident and Vince Russo booked this shit, and I hated it. And I think it's a good cage match result because they don't look at this stuff. They'll just see the result and they beat a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So, you know, they'll look back and see that. But I think it was probably my least favorite Thoroughbilly match I've seen since I've been paying attention to him.
What did you think of
And that means Brian Idol, too. I liked it better when he broke Brian Idol.
What did you think? What did you think of the finish though of the match where he choked him out? Like he didn't win with the throw ride. He made him tap or made him submit.
Yeah. He's not known for a submission guy. He doesn't have a submission hold that's over. I think it was stupid. You should have had him with the throw ride. Should have beat him very decisively in the throw ride, especially because he's not a babyface. Well, he hasn't been a babyface since he won the world title. Because now that he's now that they're promoting him, I guess as a babyface, he's wrestling like a heel. He's acting like a heel. He was more of a babyface when he was a heel, when he wasn't champion. So there's no need to have that match be a tap out. Bad finish.
And it didn't even tap out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they could have got Cardona to do it. And I don't like the actual move that was used because having a one-arm choke like that is not overly
impressive, exciting, over.
Yeah, believable even. I mean, you don't see many one-arm things in the real world. And so it's just kind of like the hold was kind of messy, sloppy. I wasn't 100% sure what he was trying to do. So he's holding one arm while kind of choking with the other, but he would have still had a free arm to fight with. And it was just like, yeah, it didn't work. Thurbilly has established a move. He established a move that he won the title with. And that needs to be his thing. If they want to throw a submission in there occasionally, you first started out in
TV tapings beating enhancement talent.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and that's a great point. Maybe that's something they should have done at the TV tapings. We can say this, and Jaden, I mean, you famously pointed this out a few weeks ago. He is trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We've seen video, not on the NWA programming, but on his social media about his background in Jiu-Jitsu. Maybe this is his plan all along, and the NWA hasn't gotten on board yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But
it's been through Billy all along.
I like this
match. Him
match.
having a submission. I don't like how it just popped up in this match, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, with no build up. If they had Severed come in and train with him and then give him a submission, then that makes sense. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Hire me. I'll work for minimum wage and give you guys all the credit because obviously you can't do it. That's a good way to get a job, but
well, I'm
begging for a job now just because I want you guys to stop bastardizing the NWA name and actually do something well. I don't need the credit. You guys take it all. Billy, you'll look like you're a genius. You'll actually look like you're in music when you have the talent to be a good musician and break the rules and make it on your own. Then when you're a crappy, shitty ass booker who doesn't know how to run a company and then you could, but you think you do, and because you're breaking all the rules, you think it's because you did it in music. You know what? I'm a really good cook. I can cook really well. I can take random ingredients and make a really good product. And I also know what food goes really well together, and I can recommend it while we're out eating. You know what that doesn't make me? A good freaking brain surgeon.
He's not wrong. He's not a good brain surgeon. I've seen him try.
Oh, Jesus. Real quick.
The biggest problem is I tried on Dave Dahl and I couldn't hit the target.
Matthew
it was small.
Moving in a different direction a little bit. So between Cardona and Tom's multi-year feud going back to at least Saul Wayne, who won the feud? Between Tom and Cardona?
I assume Cardona got a better payday, so probably him.
Yeah, I think Cardona wins. And then Noob said, I only watched this week's episode of Power only to see Markova in action. Hopefully NWA can give Natalya a real challenge. I mean, I thought that was a good match for Markova. I thought,
it wasn't a good match, but it was probably a good opponent. A good win, I should say.
Look, the best opponent they can bring in for her, they won't. Because they already had her and they didn't put it on TV. So we'll have to just skip that. But that was this week's Power. I mean, I don't try to feign enthusiasm for this product. If I like it, I'll tell you I like it. If I didn't like it, I'll tell you I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it as much as you two gentlemen did. But I could see where your complaints are, and there were things that I did think were stupid.
To quote a cartoon horse, I'm going to say, no, sir. I don't like it.
What's that? Which horse is that?
You ever see Ren and Stimpy?
Very little.
I know I'm dating myself on that one, but no, sir. I don't like it.
DK, any final thoughts on Power?
Do better.
It's fair. All right. Well, I think it's gonna do it for this. Let me try that again. I think that's gonna do our NWA talk for this week. Of course, there is some exciting and relevant, dangerous adrenaline wrestling gladiator news. And Jaden, if you would like to share that with us, the floor is yours.
There's a lot coming up with Dog. I mean, let's start off. We got coming the March 6th at Rowan University. We're going to be back at Rowan University for WrestleMania, and I hate that name, but we're going to have some great matches on that. You're also going to see some talent you might recognize, like Cheeseburger, like Bob Evans, like Tank Tolan, and like AJ Kazana. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun at Rowan University. Then on March 15th, we're at the Nerd Force Fan Fest with a table. We're going to be signing autographs, taking pictures, kissing babies, kicking midgets, whatever we have to do to get over in the Nerd Force Fan Fest. I'm definitely going to see if I can get one of the wrestlers to dress up as a furry. It'd be funny if it was Dylan Mesh. But so yeah, there's that going on. Then we have the South Jersey Geek Fest, and that is April the 4th, the day before Easter. Not only will there be Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action that day, we also have a meet and greet and at our dog table with legendary WWF/WWF, WCW, and AWA ring announcer Gary Michael Capetta. So make sure you are there. You pay for the Geek Fests, and then you stay for the wrestling, and make sure you tell everybody how much you love it so they can keep bringing us back. After that, we have June 14th at the Bill's Barbecue in Vineland, New Jersey. So we're going to be part of that event. I can't wait for that. And plus, pro wrestling and barbecue. If I can't sell you on that, then you're basically a vegan and I don't trust you. And then after that, which is the new announcement, something special, we are going to be part of the 250th anniversary of this country, the 250th birthday of the United States, because we're going to be part of the 4th of July celebration in Millville, New Jersey. Details are still forthcoming on that, but we're going to be part of that. You come out and check out the event, and then after, there's going to be fireworks, and I think there's food trucks, and there's music, and vendors, and all kinds of fun stuff as part of that event. It's like, that looks really awesome. And then in July 22nd to July 26th, we're going to be back at the Monmouth County Fair for all 5 nights. We'll be running multiple small little matches, events, like two match cards, all the way through all 5 days of the Monmouth County Fair. And there's still more being worked on. And you know what? You guys really want to get this news, by the way, because you notice Dr. Ciccone doesn't like to promote that far in advance. Nobody even knows about the other stuff. So you guys get all those exclusives. And you should be thanking me. And Dr. Ciccone, I'm glad he doesn't pay attention to this because he'd probably be pissed.
And of course, all that, you can find all the upcoming dates at dogprowrestling.com and on their social media. Your
number one source of the dangerous adrenaline wrestling gladiators. Sorry, I had to do it.
No, it's good. All right, guys. Well, again, that's going to do it for us this week. Do appreciate you making us part of your weekly viewing habits. We have a couple of interviews that are up now on the Alliance Blog podcast. Please go to Spotify and subscribe, or you could just go from your personal assistant device, like your "Hey Alexa, play the Alliance Blog," or "Okay Google, play the Alliance Blog," or Hey Apple, play the Alliance Blog. I want to know how many people just.
Hey Jimmy John, hit that Alliance Blog button.
Jimmy John. All right. Well, DK dropped out, so that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and until next time, we'll see you at. Where did it go? Oh no.
See
you at the match. Oh, we got audio. That's good. If it plays.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media